Could Jackson Smith-Njigba become the number one wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks next season? Now, I know we have DK Metcalf, and DK is right now the bona fide number one wide receiver of the Seattle Seahawks. But is it possible that Jackson Smith-Njigba just has a monster season, and all of a sudden we're talking about Jackson Smith-Njigba being the number one wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks rather than DK Metcalf? I think it's quite possible, and here's why. You've heard a lot about Jaxon Smith-Njigba when he got drafted. People were raving about him. Then he had that wrist injury, right? And the wrist injury kind of set him back a little bit. And then all of a sudden, he had a slow start to the season, had some touchdowns, but it just never felt like he was really in rhythm the whole entire season. A lot of rookies go through that, especially if you have a injury late in training camp. And that, I think, really kind of affected the positive start to the season that I actually expected him to have last year. But there was a quote, and someone in the scouting department of an NFL team said Jaxon Smith-Njigba versus Marvin Harrison Jr. And he said that JSN was actually a better wide receiver at Ohio State. And we're looking at a guy in Marvin Harrison Jr. who's one of the best wide receiver prospects of all time. And it made me start researching a little bit, and I went on Reddit, and this is from Trick Combination on Seahawks Reddit, so credit to him. Make sure if you go on Reddit, tag him if you see him or about this video, but this is a lot of credit to him who posted this. And I'm going to pull up some things here and take a look at them and talk about why Jackson Smith-Njigba might feast in this upcoming offense where Ryan Grubb is going to be taking the helm as the play caller, and he could actually do really well. And there's some questions here. Can Jackson Smith-Njigba move to wide receiver one under Ryan Grubb? And it said Jackson Smith-Njigba stepping into the role of wide receiver for the Seahawks is a possibility filled with potential thanks to a combination of his unique skill set, the Seahawks offensive structure, and the opportunities within the current roster. And here's why. Number one is I cannot speak today. Exceptional route running. JSN's precise and sharp route running makes him a formidable target for any quarterback. And his ability to create separation from defenders through his routes can fit seamlessly into the Seahawks passing game, providing a reliable option on both short and deep throws. And I think that's really important here because he does have great route running skills. And in the NFL, in a game that's filled with space, if he's open and the line has time, Geno will find him. He has high football IQ and versatility. His high football IQ allows him to understand defenses and adjust his game accordingly, which could be incredibly valuable in the Seahawks' versatile offensive scheme under Ryan Grubb. JSN can line up both outside and in the slot, giving the Seahawks flexibility in play, calling, and formation setups. So it sounds like if he is used in this, he's more like a chess piece. Think of Deebo Samuel, maybe without the actual running in the 49ers offense. He has strong hands and playmaking ability. JSN's reliable hands and his proven track record of making big plays in critical moments can help elevate the Seahawks offense. His ability to haul in touch catches and turn them into significant gains or touchdown as a dynamic threat to the Seahawks aerial attack. That's huge, right? You want to have those strong hands, playmaking ability in the NFL. And I think this is really important. The Seahawks offensive scheme. The Seahawks have historically maximized the talents of their wide receivers within their offensive scheme, focusing on vertical threats and creating opportunities in open space. JSN's skill set aligns well with this approach, potentially allowing them to thrive and produce significant numbers. And I don't necessarily agree with that part because we are talking about a different offensive scheme now that Pete Carroll's gone and we got Ryan Grubb in there. But you saw McMillan on University of Washington Huskies, and he was kind of used all over the place, and he was able to go into the slot, provide mismatches, and I really believe that JSN could be using the Ryan Grubb offense in a similar way. Last but not least, he said opportunity and team needs. Given the ever-evolving nature of NFL rosters and the potential departures and arrivals in the offseason, JSN could find himself in a prime position to step up as the wide receiver one based on the team's need and his ability to outperform the competition in training camp and in preseason games. In summary, JSN's transition to the wide receiver one spot for the Seattle Seahawks is supported by his individual talents, adaptability, and the strategic fit within the Seahawks offensive system. His proven track record of performance under pressure and his ability to contribute significantly in a variety of roles makes him a prime candidate to lead the Seahawks receiving corps. And this sounds all great, but I believe the thing here is I'm not really concerned if JSN can become the wide receiver one for the Seattle Seahawks. Would be great if he did. But I'm more concerned, can he take a step up and become a wide receiver two like Tyler Lockett in his second year? Because as we know, Tyler Lockett is probably on his way down a little bit. And DK Metcalf right now is the wide receiver one. Now, could JSN match the production of DK? That'd be a huge bonus for the team. But can he at least be at the level of production where Tyler Lockett could have been last year and a little bit better? And then all of a sudden you're saying JSN is a bona fide number 2 wide receiver in the league after 2 seasons with his whole entire career still ahead of him. That is what gets me excited. That means JSN could actually take multiple steps up and become a wide receiver one by year 3 or year 4 in the NFL. And it was going to be really interesting to see him in Ryan Grubb's offense, who is a very, very good play caller. We got to see him at the University of Washington. If you're a Husky fan like me, get the ball in space to a lot of people, have a very unique approach to the offense, and he knows how to get the ball in the right person's hands that's going to be able to make big plays. And I really think that's what JSN is going to do. I think he's going to be one of our big play guys this year. Going to be really fun to watch, and can't wait for some Seahawks football and see the evolution of JSN on the Seattle Seahawks. So that's what I think. JSN, yeah, he could make it. He could become a wide receiver one, and he could also become a wide receiver two. And for God's sake, he might not ever make it and be a wide receiver 3. But if I was to predict it, I think he is going to be a bona fide number 2 in the NFL this year. And you've seen it. I talked about this on my video on last Monday, that we have the number 1 rated wide receiver room in the whole entire NFL. That's better than the Waddle, Tyreek Hill in Miami. So if you think about it, actually, like, we're really primed, guys. We're really primed for us to take a big step forward in the wide receiver room. And that means JSN, if they really have us as the number 1 graded and we become the number 1 wide receiver room in the NFL, that means JSN took a huge step up, and all of a sudden we have a superstar at wide receiver. And that means if you give Geno some time, unfortunately our offensive line has a lot of work to do. You get him the ball, we're going to score a lot of points. Mike McDonald defense, we could definitely take a step up from the record we had last year and all of a sudden see ourselves as a playoff team. Look, a lot of people wrote off the Rams last year before the season started, and they were a playoff team. This is the NFL. You're never in rebuilding mode for that long. So hopefully JSN does what he can and becomes at least a wide receiver 2, if not a wide receiver 1. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. This is Seattle on Tap, part of a Sports on Tap in the Seattle on Tap network. This is our Seahawks channel. If you're looking for our Mariners content, now that the Mariners season has started, at Mariners on Tap. If you're looking for our Huskies content, at Huskies on Tap. Really appreciate you watching to the end. If you're listening to this part, that means you're at the end. Make sure you like and subscribe. See you guys next time.